right, we ready? Everybody good? David, you good?
Traveling alone and overseas. I never heard that. They're both pretty good.
And that's my cue to bring us in when the conversations get incredibly random. That's when we start the episode. Welcome into Talk or Go Home. Nick, Clint, David, and Mark, and we have a special guest this episode. A man who, if he looks familiar, it's because his son is a co-host of this show. The man, the myth, the legend, Tom Sanders. Welcome in.
Love you, Dad.
Welcome in, Tom. Now, look. Everybody's like, okay, what's the context here? Tom and David worked together for how many years?
How many? Going to be a hard question.
How many years ago, and for how many years? 80. Y'all started in 89 together.
When'd you come?
About 80.
88?
88, I think.
Reagan Clark was here?
Yeah.
See, I was still playing then. Probably like 90 and 91.
Yeah, 88, that was a tough.
90 and 91, and then when I came here in 95.
That was a tough year, wasn't it?
90?
No, 88.
88?
Yeah.
Way back.
Yeah.
No, that was the 5 and 5. Went to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now the year before would have been the bad year.
Yeah.
The tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So y'all have known each other 30 plus years.
Yeah.
Basically.
Long time.
And you worked together.
We did.
And then you taught all the kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you were principal here in 95.
I was.
Through
03.
03?
Yeah.
2003?
95,
Right.
the year I was born.
Yeah. Really?
So I worked for you 8 years. Now when you came here from Springville, you scouted. You scouted that first year.
Yeah.
And then you were a defensive coordinator.
Yeah. I was defensive coordinator for Coach Probst
Okay. Yeah. All right.
when he took over.
Okay. That 5 and 5 year. Hey, that 5 and 5 year when I was a senior, I was thinking about that today. Actually, I think that's the year that kind of got things started in the right direction. Even though there was probably a year or maybe a year or two, or I know one bad year between that 12 and 2 year. I think that's what kind of got it going. Because we went to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Played Sardis.
Yeah, that was, what year was
Got
that?
beat by Sardis. That's my senior year.
Okay.
When I graduated. I'd been the 88 football season, graduated in 89. And then you were the defensive coordinator after that.
After that, yeah, because Rush was the defensive coordinator that night.
Mm-hmm.
And he took a butt chewing after the game. I wouldn't say anything.
But one thing we talked about on here when you were scouting, I think you were standing down at the end of so when I was a senior.
Yeah.
So when you're standing down there at the end of the football field, I think you may have been talking to Coach Probst. It's when Reagan Clark was head coach. And y'all were standing there talking. I guess you going to scout.
Yeah.
And I was going for the safety. And I rolled you up
I remember.
real bad down there.
Yeah.
And that's the only time I remember Reagan Clark just busting out laughing at practice. He had to put his clipboard over his head. I turned around because he was laughing so hard.
I've got that picture in my mind of him doing that, actually. But, I had been paralyzed, from the waist down in 87, so I still was just learning how to walk. So the least little thing was going to take me out.
I took you out.
And that was me.
The least little thing was David Murphree.
Yeah.
Dad, won't you tell them about that story?
Yeah, that's incredible.
It's an incredible story. Tell them about when you got paralyzed and had to fight back.
Well,
because you were no longer paralyzed from the waist down.
No, but
Currently unparalyzed.
Yeah.
yeah, I was May of 87. I was working on my master's at UAB. I was coaching at Springville. And matter of fact, I went to class at UAB, came home. Teresa, Mark, and Matthew had went over to her mother and daddy's, Bob and Sue. So I said, well, I'm going to go to the track and run. So I went and ran 2 miles. Man, I was in the best shape of my life. I really felt like it. The next day was the first day of spring training, and Mike Green, it was his first day on the job as Springville's head football coach. And all of a sudden, my legs started turning like real warm feeling. And then 30 minutes goes by, and they're like you've hit your funny bone on something, that crazy that started tingling down my legs that way. And we had a break, and I went over to Coach Green. I said, something crazy's going on with my legs. I don't really know what it is. And about that time, my left leg gave away, and I fell right into him. Not trying to. It's just the way it was. And so, long story short, I ended up in the hospital. I was in there for weeks, but probably took me 6 months to get to walk again, to take a step. But I've gotten better through the years. It was a disease called transverse myelitis, and people have it. I've talked to people through the years that kind of have similar circumstances in what I had. But, you think you'd see people like in a wheelchair or couldn't hardly walk, and you think, well, why don't they just walk? Because that's the way we feel when we walk around. And then all of a sudden I couldn't, and I understood it a lot better.
Yeah.
What was raising us like, not being able to walk? I never even asked you that before. It just hit me.
Well, it was hard. Main thing was just keeping enough food on the table. If we did that, we were in good shape.
So fall camp
exactly.
Exactly. Fall camp of '87. I would have been 4 years old.
Yeah.
So did I ride around a lot with you on the wheelchair?
Yeah.
What a question.
I really can't remember much about that. I do remember I was teaching at Springville, and these guys took me to lunch in a wheelchair. And at Springville, there's the old elementary school. Then you come down this concrete sidewalk back to the high school, and it's down a big hill.
I remember that.
And I'm talking to his name, Jim Keith, Freddie Stanford, some of those guys. And we were having a conversation. All of a sudden, it got quiet. They wasn't talking. I looked around. They turned me loose. I was flying down the hill. I mean, I just burnt wounds into my hands. My hands were smoking to get the rubber wheels of that wheelchair stopped.
They turned you loose?
Huh?
They just
They
turned
turned
let
me
you
loose.
go.
Turned me loose.
Hey.
And I'm still
Watch
talking.
this.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to see how fast Sanders can go?
But the thing about the boys that I'll never forget as long as I live was when they come in the hospital room. I hadn't seen them for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden I saw them creeping in the door, and the doctors, nurses, I guess, let them come in, and it was so good to see them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so good to see them.
We had some wheelchair races over at Springville too, didn't you?
Now, after they did that to me, I had a different entourage that went with me around.
Well, there was somebody else you raced over there, wasn't
In a
there?
wheelchair?
Wasn't there somebody else over there?
It's possible. I just can't remember all that stuff.
Okay. We had some great basketball teams over there. Then you was head
yeah.
basketball coach.
Yeah.
Who's some of them best, Peoples and
Jimmy Peoples,
And,
he was a great player, great inside player. Brian Terry.
yeah,
both
Brian
of them
Terry. I remember you having the two on the
inside.
same team. I think. Were y'all pretty good then?
Yeah, I think we beat Coach Gross and his Asheville team. We beat them in the county tournament that year in the semis, and then we beat I think Odenville in the finals.
Now, I remember that team. I
Yeah,
remember you coaching that team.
it was a crazy thing happened. I've always been big about free throw shooting. Anybody that knows me knows that. I mean, just because I couldn't shoot them worth anything, and Coach Smith made me shoot them one-handed one day in practice. I think he's just sick of seeing me shoot. And all of a sudden, I started hitting them, and I couldn't miss. And I'll never forget the first game I played, a preseason tournament over at Lincoln, and I went up to the line and, get the ball here, and you could just hear people laughing in the stands. I mean, both sides, actually. But, I got to where I could just hit them. I mean, I hit free throws right and left. I almost never missed. Matter of fact, I got to go play in college, and if the other team, there was a technical on the other team, the coach would put me in to go shoot the free throws.
Now here in Asheville, how many did you hit in a row in practice one day? I mean, you got the record, I think.
Well, I
Just in
don't.
PE. Weren't you just in PE or something? Josh Seawright talks about it. It's like one of his favorite stories. He loves talking about the Tom Sanders free throw
Well,
saga.
Coach Smith at the Hall of Fame banquet, he says 300 and something in a row. But I think probably what he's thinking is I'd hit maybe 100 and something a row one day, and then the next day I'd start again, and it just got built up. I don't think I ever, shot 300. But I had a lot of streaks over 100. I mean, that just come to mind.
That's incredible.
I mean,
That is incredible.
That is insane. Yeah.
it really is. I take a whole lot of credit for it.
All one-handed, or did you finally?
No, all one-handed.
All one-handed. You
Yeah.
never morphed into a two-handed
All
shooter
the
for
same.
those?
Well, no, never.
Okay.
Never.
No granny shots or anything.
That makes it even more impressive.
Well, but Tom Sanders' way of thinking is he shoots them one-handed, but he'll get that guide hand going up and then let it go.
Right.
You know?
Sometimes it might touch.
Yeah, he just makes sure it's secure, but it's clean.
There you go.
Clean shot.
Hey, as long as it goes in, you get the point for it. They give them
That's
free.
all that matters.
They're free for a reason, right?
Who was it? The Barry guy in the NBA that did a granny shot?
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, Rick Barry.
Rick
yeah,
Barry,
he was
yeah.
good.
Yeah. Hey, if it works, it works.
Hey.
Now we need to know what kind of dirt you have on David Murphree. What kind of stories you can tell? No.
This is the part of the show when you're probably thinking, well, we should have got somebody else to come in. Because David Murphree is a legend, and you never trash a legend.
That is true, though.
Besides,
That
I
is
wouldn't
true.
know what to say.
I have no dirt either.
He's fantastic. Good.
I think there's collusion
I think
pre-show
there is.
that happened
Yeah, I think
when
there
we
was a
weren't
couple-
looking.
Yeah. Yeah.
No dirt here.
So you don't have any stories on him?
No.
Nothing.
Just let me see.
I was about to say you came in with notes.
See,
No, I just want to hear about you drinking water out of the toilet at football practice.
I got nothing on David.
Yeah.
Well,
You don't get no water
It
break.
was out of the
Hey,
back, right?
I told my guys on my
Yeah.
football team this
Yeah.
story like 2 weeks ago about when y'all had to go drink out of the back.
well, when I played, you had to take all those salt tablets, and you
Oh,
know
yeah.
they didn't let you drink water ever. I mean, that was a sign of weakness. You know, get out of here. You can't. You want to drink? Go home.
Different time.
Way
You
different time.
You gorge yourself right before practice, and a lot of people, puking right before it started. They drank so much water,
much
so
water.
they'd have some. Yeah, that's the story that is true. I hate to say,
It's a great story.
but what it was.
Look,
it
the
wasn't so
water
much
in the back of the toilet
Yeah, the
is
tank,
clean.
It's
It's
clean.
clean.
It's clean. It's clean
water. Yeah.
Flush it, let it fill up again.
Yeah.
Drink some
And
more.
there's a lot of people that if they see this, they'll say, "Thank goodness Tom said that, so now I won't have to stay in the closet about this." It's real. But it is true.
I mean, I can only imagine, like, especially some of the days I've had playing football and being out in the heat. Like, if you didn't have water, I'd find a way to get it too.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
the salt tablets, man, they just made you feel like you wanted to throw up anyway. And it's just a bad
You throw if you
combination.
have water. You're gonna throw if you don't have water. You're gonna throw if you have salt tablets. Just
When I was at
it's a throw up party at that.
when
point.
I was at Bama, they would give you one salt tablet for every half pound you lost at practice, like during the 2 days. One day I lost 13 pounds in one practice.
You lost 13 pounds.
13, so I had to come back with 26 salt tablets, and I was like,
That's
"Listen,
rough,
man,"
man.
I said, "Listen, I'm about to go to the dining hall and grub out. I can't take 26 salt tablets. I think I'll die."
Holy.
And so they were like, "Well, we got to give them to you." I was like, "Well, okay."
well, give them to me.
I took
they're gonna
like 4.
they're gonna go in
Yeah.
the garbage.
Yeah, and then I put the rest in like a little baggie or something somewhere.
Hey, who's football coach here when you played football?
Ralph Bell was the coach my senior year.
Who was before that? Who was here before that?
O'Neal Mays, and then Coach Farmer was, years back when I was like 9th grade.
Mays, Bell, Farms. You played
Yeah.
for all them?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and by the way, I saw a lot of guys drinking out of the mud hole. Nobody seems to think that's
I've done that before.
much to it. I mean,
Well, hey, if you let it settle, all the dirt's at the bottom. It's
Yeah,
fine.
Just get that little gentle little. Yeah, right
yeah,
on top.
right on the
Look,
top.
I remember.
That's all you can
I
do.
remember one time I was helping. We were putting in fence. Speaking of drinking out of mud holes, we were putting in fence posts on the backside of our property, and I was running the tractor, and we had the auger attached to the PTO on the back, and my dad and my brother would go get fence posts off the trailer and bring them while I was digging the next hole. They'd take the hole I just dug and plant the fence post.
Yeah.
Well, it was hot. I mean, we were doing this in the middle of July. I'm probably 13 years old, something like that. Reagan's 9 or 10. And Dad usually brought water in like one of those big thermos things out there with us. Well, not this day. Well, it just so happened the fence
bring
line.
salt tablets?
No.
Okay.
Just so happened we were right next to our little pond right there. And when I mean little, I mean the pond's probably the size of this room. So it wasn't it wasn't really like just a hole that filled up with water in the ground.
pothole.
Yeah. Somebody's trash hole.
Yeah.
And
Everybody's got a hole.
yeah. And so I get off the tractor because it was taking Dad and Reagan a long time to get back with this one. I think it might have been a corner post or something extra thick, and so they were struggling with it because Reagan was only 10. And so I throttle down the tractor, hop off, and I was so hot I just stuck my head in the pond and just started drinking.
Yeah.
like an idiot. And looking back on it, I'm like, man, all those things that were flowing across my tongue that I felt. That who knows what that was. Yeah. But I mean,
minnows,
have you
algae.
ever been so hot you'll just drink? Well, obviously
Obviously,
you
yes.
know, but you're willing to drink whatever.
Yeah.
Have you, like drinking out of the water hose?
Yeah.
Everybody's done that, right?
Can I tell one on David real quick?
Please,
Yes.
please.
Now, it's not bad at all. It's not a bad thing, and he's gonna, as soon as I start, he's gonna know where this is going. But
Look at him.
it was Jody Whaley's first year of being assistant principal. I had an issue like at the end of the day, 7th period, and I was still in the office, and I'm normally out there at the buses or out in traffic, but I wasn't that day. And I got a radio from either Patty Johnson or I think Tim Clevenger, was principal at the middle school, said, "We got a bus out here that doesn't have a driver." I said, "Oh no." And so
Oh no.
I said,
Not oh no. Oh no.
"Mr. Whaley, go see if you can round up Coach Murphree. We got to have a sub now." And so he goes out there and hunts David, and I don't hear anything for 10, 15 minutes, and I'm just, the buses are gone by now, so I didn't go out there. About that time I get a call, and they said, "Mr. Sanders, did you ever get a driver for the bus?" And I said, "Coach Whaley, did you go see Coach Murphy?" He said, "Yeah. I saw him and told him we need a driver, and he took off running." I said, "If he took off running, he didn't go toward the buses, I can assure you. He went the other way." Nobody wants to sub.
That's the worst job in education, sub driver.
It is. It's tough.
awful. I hated it, and I didn't want to drive. I mean,
So I went home.
now look, that's now. This is after that. Y'all had got me off the practice field out of individuals to go drive a bus.
Yeah.
I've been standing out front of the school, getting ready to go on a Friday evening, packed up, ready to go, had to go drive. So I knew what to look for. I knew to look what people
Peek
were.
outside,
If
see
you ever
Whaley
saw
coming.
any of them coming for you in the evenings, you better
Whaley
take off
said
running.
He took off running. He said, I know he went straight there." I
I'm-
said, "No, he didn't go straight
No.
there."
I'm sure this was on a Friday evening, about 3:10.
That's all.
Probably.
I don't
Wanting to leave. But I drove a bunch of them now.
He's got some really good bus stories now because ironically he has a route.
Yeah. Therefore, he's not a sub though.
hauling that day after the rain. Remember that one?
Statute of limitations. You're good.
All right,
Go
we're
ahead. No, I'm saying you can tell her.
No.
In the rain, what? I was hollering
Yeah.
in the rain. What?
There was
I don't remember
a
that.
parent come in, a bus.
Oh
driver.
no, that wasn't me.
I know it wasn't
That wasn't
you,
me.
but you witnessed it.
Oh yeah.
An irate parent just happened to come in the building irate about a bus driver. So
This is one of the funniest
David
things
saw.
I have ever seen. You're talking about Whaley, because I forgot about this till later on.
I know where you're going.
It was it your 40th birthday
Oh, that.
in the gym? In the gym.
Now,
Was
you
it your
gotta tell them what you
40th
were
or
thinking
50
about.
when you turned 40? I guess. When
Yeah, it was.
he dressed up this old like death. This old lady in a black dress,
I mean,
a white
I
wig. Do you remember that?
He'd be popular now. He'd fit right
With
in.
with a cane. I mean, it looked like just death walking out. And with that cane, and I didn't even recognize him. I think Tanisha Parker was in there putting that white makeup and everything on him, and opened the door back there in the old room at the gym before they redid it. and I'm face to face with him, and I did not know it was him. I didn't even recognize him. And then he come. You would have known it was him until he got right up to you.
Yeah.
He come walking out of that room. Then the whole school was in there,
Yeah, come
surprising you on your 40th birthday.
You know, the dressing room
Yeah.
down there.
Yeah.
And I'm standing at the door where you enter. And it takes him an hour to walk from
Yeah.
there to me. And it just goes on. And I knew what was
Okay.
going on once I
Yeah,
saw it.
I wish I had that on film.
Yeah,
That was
it
hilarious.
was funny, though. It was.
So did you laugh out loud like when he stepped out? You just
Well, I knew it was
got
going
it.
to happen then, but like when I saw him, it took me a few seconds to realize it was even him.
So what was his reaction to it?
He didn't know who it was either till they got right
Probably.
up to him. It's shock. Because it was shocking.
He was covered up.
Yeah.
I mean, you barely could see.
Yeah, I wish I had a
part of
picture of
his
that.
face.
Yeah.
That was
Video of that.
crazy.
I remember watching from the bleachers. That was pretty funny.
You remember that too.
Yeah.
But if you saw it, you wouldn't forget it.
So okay, he was your principal.
Principal. That's
Yeah.
when you was principal. Then.
So your father was your principal. What was that like?
I mean, there's two different ends of it. You know, part of it, I think probably the coolest part of it was like me and Matthew being able to be up here in the summer, which, you know, like different times back
recoding
then.
lockers.
Yeah, that wasn't fun. That was going to be on the other end. But no, just being able to, like, you know, we had the keys to stuff, so we wanted balls to go play with, shoot basketball, go do whatever. That's what we did. You know, this was kind of our home for forever, it felt like. And yeah, but the other end of it was, hey, boys, I need y'all to do that. Boys, I need y'all to do this.
Hey, I'll tell you why they were good at it. It's because they opened the lockers with a key and raked everything in the floor. They knew how to make messes. I mean, they were good at it. Plus, every now and then, find, Matthew, I found a calculator.
Oh, yeah.
There's always treasure.
Yeah,
in
we
there.
did. It was good treasure hunting times. That was a good part of it. It was.
Can you tell the story about that one time y'all were here?
Didn't we already?
Oh, did you?
Did we do it when Matthew was here? Did we tell it?
I know. Did you? Have we told it on air? You told it out there. To
When they got in a
us.
fight?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got the
Yeah,
handle.
we talked that a couple of times.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we
Yeah.
have talked about
Has-
that.
has
I want,
he heard- I wanna see his
Yeah, I
reaction.
want his perspective on that story though.
All right, so well, you know, it wasn't the brightest moment. It turned good because
You know what we're talking
because we
about?
have a picture.
He knows what.
Have you heard this story on the podcast? Or I mean, obviously you know it, but
No, but I've heard it for 20 years.
Well, you know, I mean, Matthew, I think it was the county tournament in basketball. It was like winter break for us, and we were in college, big hulking broody guys, and you had us up here cleaning the gym after a county tournament for basketball. Or, no, not county tournament. It was like some kind of Christmas tournament or something. Like we were hosting something. I don't know. But me and Matthew just started jawing at each other and ended up going and had a brouhaha out here in the middle of the hallway. And he was talking smack to me, and I ran and I broke that big old thick broom over his back. And we just went to just throwing down. And then the next thing I know, I look up and Dad just swats me with that broom. Because he's yelling at me coming down the hall. He's yelling at me coming down the hallway right over here.
off of him.
Yeah, stop, you idiots! You know?
boys.
And I look up, man, because me and Matt, well, we loved each other, but we threw down when it was time.
Brothers.
It's brother stuff. And I look up, Dad, wow, right, boom.
And this story gets worse in family lore every time it's told. I mean, next time they'll be like having to go to the hospital and calling the
Oh,
priest
no.
in and everything.
It'd be a 2x4.
Well, look,
Yeah,
I mean, hey,
exactly.
if you see a grizzly bear attacking something, even if it is your grizzly bear, like it still needs to get off. You can just swat it with a broom,
Yeah.
No, it was crazy. But we took a picture afterwards in Dad's office.
Okay, that's what I want. Yeah.
And the
So,
blood's on my
whose
shirt.
idea was that? Hey boys, let's get a picture.
I can't remember. I don't
No,
know.
it wouldn't have come from me.
I think my cousin Megan had come by the school. Maybe she took the picture and like, had her
Okay.
camera on it or something like. And then she was like blown away that all that had gone on, and like I'm standing there, I got blood all over my shirt, I got the broken broom,
Yeah.
And then Dad's sitting in his chair, me and Matthew standing behind him smiling,
That'd be, man, if we had that picture, that'd be awesome to.
Well, I'll get Matthew back up here. We can go recreate it and take some photos.
That'd
No,
be-
I've
Yeah.
seen
No, I've got
Didn't
the
you
picture
send that
somewhere.
picture?
I probably
Man,
did.
I think I've seen that
Yeah.
At some point.
right here lately.
Well, so David, it's been a while since we've seen you, man. Give us the latest news. What you been up to?
I don't know. Did you?
Finishing your
Hey, did you?
Aaron, I know this is the first time
Hey.
you've been here in like 2 seasons. please shut up.
Hey, did you go to Southern Union? You played basketball. You played at Southern Union.
Still laughing.
Okay.
Southern Union.
All right. So where'd you go after that? That's just two years.
Jack
Where'd you go?
State.
Went to Jackson State. Okay.
Jack State.
All right. Jack State.
Jacksonville State.
Jacksonville State.
Yeah.
JSU.
Familiar with it, yeah.
All right. Well, tell us about hanging out with Randy Owen. Tell us how that happened. Didn't you spend the day with him one time?
He was at a doppelganger contest.
I was about to say, I've always wanted to tell you that you've always reminded me of him.
Randy Owen.
Yes.
Yeah, they've always looked similar.
Well, that's where he
you-
got. Didn't you?
My home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gave him that. You wrote that and you gave it to him, right? That
Well,
music and Tennessee River and all that. When
We
y'all,
were
that
gonna
day y'all
keep it
spent.
quiet,
All right.
but it was announced out. But yeah, we were at a baseball clinic, and so he drives up, and it's in Tuscaloosa. We're at the Central High School field. It started at 9 o'clock in the morning. It was 100 degrees, terrible. But there was these trees up the left field foul line, and I had a folding chair.
Now, you were there because Matthew.
Matthew,
Was that
yeah.
this was a camp
Yeah.
down there, and then his son, Randy Owen's son, pretty good baseball
Yeah,
player.
yeah, I think he played at Sanford
Okay.
after that. But I saw him coming in. He got out of a car and looking around, and I said, Randy. He's like, what? I got an extra chair in the shade. Got you coming. So he came up and sit with me, and we stayed till 4 or 5 o'clock that evening. And I mean, some of the things that we talked about, it was just unbelievable. Because some things you see lived out, and it might be a music video, and he's like, "Yeah, we shot that one in Memphis," and telling me who all was there and everything. And but a big Republican, man, staunch Republican.
Well, right off the top of your head, you talking about like shooting videos, anything else?
Well,
I mean,
he
what
had
you
shot
talk about all day long?
He had shot a video the night before, and then drove from, I think it was in Memphis. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's where he came down from, but anyway, that's what he'd been doing, and I can't remember the song, but I have this in my mind. It was that 18-wheeler song, I think.
Yeah.
But it may have been something else. I mean, it's not like they had more than one hit or something.
Well, after we talk
40.
about this, you'll probably think about this tonight, and you'll think about all the stuff y'all talked about.
Well, one
During the
thing, he brought his cattle to Whitney Junction to the cattle sale, and he said, "Oh yeah, I know all about Asheville. Yeah, that's where I come up here and sell my cows,
Wow.
So
Didn't know that.
yeah,
That's pretty
Yeah.
crazy. I wonder if he's been to Skips.
Likely.
Probably.
I should have asked. Yeah, it was a fun day. I mean, you rarely get a glimpse, into somebody's life like that, and man, it was a great day.
It's a real down to earth dude.
Yeah.
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 And you're a bit of a musician yourself, right?
Some would say.
What would you say?
Yeah. What would you say?
I play some.
You play something. So what do
pick at it.
what do you play? Just tell us what you've
I'm a
played.
guitar
Mhm.
guy and a bass guy. That's it. I don't really. Well, I do play mandolin too.
Yeah.
Some.
Yeah.
And I've had 2 fiddles that were near and dear to me that I played some on learning, but one of them was my granddad's, who was
man.
born in 1890 something, and and then another one was the first a guy that lived Guy Holiday, I believe his name was, in Shoal Creek Valley. He used to make fiddles, and I had the first one he'd ever made. A guy had given it to me, and they burned up in the fire. And it was painful. I mean, it's
Incorrect. I have one of them.
painful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where it went.
Look at what comes
Well,
out on the show.
Well, for all you people out there that don't know, me and my wife bought our parents' house that they built back in '89, and we moved in '90. So, but a lot of the stuff that you may think you're missing, you just left behind when y'all moved out.
Yes!
For the win.
You just made his day.
you did.
Yes. I mean,
This is a Festivus miracle. What a positive. You wouldn't have known if this hadn't happened.
if you
I
could
didn't
just
know you were
fiddles
looking
there.
for it. I thought you just knew it was up in the attic the whole time. Like,
I've been looking for
Festivus
the memory
miracle.
of it in my heart,
oh,
and And it just every time I think about it, I just put my head down.
Well, how about this?
Get your head up.
When you and mom get the new place built, when it's finally done, I'll try to build y'all a little case for it, and I'll put it in there, a little display case or something.
There you go.
That'd be cool.
Man, it'd have been cool if you didn't tell him and just surprised him.
Forget everything I just said.
Where's the Men in Black?
Look at this.
It's awesome, man. That's incredible.
I don't know which one it is.
I do.
The one in the case.
It's the one that you've got would be, I remember I couldn't find it pretty close to the time the house burned, and I was looking for it, and I couldn't find it, so it's got to be the one that was my granddaddy's, your great-granddaddy's.
Yeah.
I mean, he used to play, people would come in from the community, and they'd play.
Yeah. They just have a singing or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's awesome.
we do have to go get it fixed, though, and like,
What's wrong with it?
well, it's been in the case
Mark
for.
sat on it.
How old do you think that fiddle would have been?
He said 18.
Let's just say
100.
100.
100 years old?
Let's just
Well, I
say
mean, whatever glue they use to put the neck onto the body, it's kind of deteriorated. So
Dried
Just
out.
needs to be restored.
no, it just gotta. Yeah, it needs a restoration. That's all. And the strings have been. That horsehair has been gone
On the
for a while.
bow.
On the bow, yeah.
I can get a new bow.
But the strings are good. It's just the neck. It's been in the case. It ain't like
Yeah.
somebody stepped on it.
I'm excited, though. I mean, that's big.
Good.
I've been wanting to get it fixed and play it forever, but I just haven't. Nah. I just play the harmonica.
I didn't know you were musically inclined.
I mean, I'm not. Look. Dad played our entire lives. Like from the time I can remember music, I remember Dad sitting there picking up the guitar and playing. He's really good, by the way. And
So he's Mr. Humble over there, not really. telling
he's really
us how-
good.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Actually, I say that I've actually seen you perform in church before.
Yeah.
I've actually been when you've led worship. So I do. I've heard you sing too.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and it's awesome. He is.
You do a great job.
I don't think you played the guitar that day. I think I just heard you sing. But yeah. This would have been.
Yeah.
You don't remember. You don't even remember when this happened. What I'm talking about, do you? This would have been a couple years ago. Dude, I sat right next to you. See? You don't remember the conversation we had? Wow.
What was the?
I'm so glad I paid for your breakfast the other morning. Wow.
What was the occasion? Carry me back.
That's a country song.
That is a
title
country
there.
song.
Carry me back.
Carry me back.
Sitting in church.
It was just
carry me back.
church.
You had just come to church.
Yeah, it was just church. I came with my grandparents.
You did?
Yeah.
I really did.
He obviously doesn't remember, so
Listen,
stop acting so shocked.
Look, don't be surprised when somebody who's played college football doesn't remember things. We
Oh,
all
you're
have a
gonna blame
little.
it on the CT.
We all have a
Okay.
little CT in there.
Okay. Are you sure it didn't? You
Man,
have
I
always been
look.
a little.
I forget my own players' names sometimes. I'm telling you.
But weren't you that way before you went to college?
Nah. I was pretty sharp.
Were you?
Yeah.
Was he? Was he?
I can't tell any difference.
Yeah. Well, that feel like that bus that just ran you over.
The truth hurts, man. I've always been a little off.
So when he was at, I mean, you're a big Bama guy. When he was playing at Bama, what was that like for you?
It was great. I mean, it really was.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some tales that happened back in there. I came in one time to the football office at Alabama. We're there for a weekend, so I'm going up, and actually I'm going up to see Coach Franchione. And so I come in the lobby, and they used to keep all the national championship trophies like in this one little lobby right by the stairwell, And so I come in, and I look at one of them, and I said, Teresa, tell me that's not wax that hadn't been buffed out on that trophy. And she said, yeah. And it got me mad. I mean, the fact that they wouldn't buff out and make the – so I take my shirt off right there in the middle of everybody and then take my T-shirt off and take my T-shirt and buff that trophy out.
He's got too much Bama in him.
I do.
Yeah.
Hey, it's the house we grew up in. You love some Bama.
Well, friend,
go ahead with
this
it.
is absurd.
Then I go upstairs, and
He'll
of course, as soon as I go in Coach Fran's office, and I tell him about my situation, and I'm I wasn't angry. I mean, you know.
You're upset, though.
I don't want to be known as a disgruntled parent, you know, because their son hadn't played enough, you know, that kind of stuff. I can't. But I said, but, you know, y'all can at least buff the wax off the dang national championship trophies. Can't y'all do that?
I wonder how many people in the history of Alabama football have questioned the coach on the
head coach.
the head football coach at Alabama on the clarity of the trophies, you know.
So what was his response?
Well, Mr. Sanders, I'll check. We'll get our best people on it. I said, you know. But then right after that, I tell him, I say, look, the grass on the football field is not green. It's just not green. And it wasn't. We'd go through a period back then, it was yellow. And then it was striped like it was camouflaged. You know, do y'all remember that?
Yes.
Back when we played Oklahoma at home,
Yep.
UCLA? And
Was
the
hot
field
still,
is
yeah.
yellow like,
Yep.
I mean, and he said,
Well, you should have just got out there in that old Mitsubishi tractor and, what do you call it when you pull the plugs out? Aerated the thing.
David,
Like you did over here on the practice
it
field.
wasn't my job,
All right.
okay? I buff, but I don't irrigate.
I'll buff a trophy, but I can't aerate. I'm
But
on aerate.
so I tell him, I said, the grass is terrible. So he said, well, I don't know about that. I think it looks pretty green. So we walk out of his office, and right by his office door in the hallway is a picture about that big. And it was a picture from the game, from the Oklahoma game the year before, and the field looked crappy. And I said, look, it looks like that. Oh, you're right. It does look terrible. I mean,
Oh, you're right.
it just stuff like that get on my nerves.
Tom, did he tell you to hold the rope while he got it fixed?
I would have hung him.
Oh, this is a pretty funny story about Fran here. Real quick one. Me and one of my buddies, like, we're doing like when he was there, it was 02, my redshirt freshman year, 01, 02. So I was, you know, I had really good dudes in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
I was ready to play if I ever needed to.
Right.
If they called my number, but what do you do when you're in a walkthrough if you're just we're paying attention, but
Yeah,
me and
but
one of
you're
my
not.
buddies, me
Yeah.
and one of my buddies, we're standing over here.
You might have a side conversation going.
We're standing over here, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, our side conversation turns into like karate chopping each other and like blocking, you know, and like doing this whole thing.
What
and
was
then
your buddy's name?
Von Ewing. Okay. And so we're standing over there
hope
doing
he
it. And we
listens
just
to
get
this.
into this, like we're doing this like slow motion, like whack, whack, you know, and
Yeah.
we just lose our minds doing it, you
Yeah.
know. All of a sudden, like Fran just tears into us, like just
Loses it.
runs over there. It's like, you MFers. Y'all better effing pay attention.
Yeah.
I can't remember what all he said, but he was giving it to us, man.
Yeah.
And we were like, whoop.
Giving you the business.
Yeah, it was bad.
Well,
It
he
was
did
bad.
a pretty good job at it.
Oh, he was-
You know,
Oh man, he was.
I just
he was
we
a
were
good coach.
aggravated the way he left and all. I know Mark and him.
Yeah.
more
And Mark's
than I was.
Mark's given us some really good insight into that.
You should
that
have like
experience.
tried to karate shop Coach and just say, Coach, you think you can block this?
That would have been awesome.
Dude,
I
you
probably
think
wouldn't
you
have
can
been there.
block this?
that would have ended your collegiate
would've
playing
ended,
career.
That would have
Yeah.
been funny though.
That'd have been
So,
great.
so in the great
Get left on a
coach's
high note.
office raid of 2005, 2004.
No. Well, it would have been. It was still 02.
02?
We didn't.
Oh, that's right. That's right. that's right.
sanctions everything. So like.
So in the great coach,
In the
coach's
winter of
office-
02.
the winter of 02 coach's office raid. Did you end up with any memorabilia?
No, I don't think so.
no, well, because you
I
remember
was
I told.
proud. He
Yeah.
got the little miniature helmet on.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know,
That
I didn't know
was
if
my-
you got something for Dad. Like, hey, Dad, I got the trophy that you had to buff it. You might as well call it yours.
It was. I wasn't as you know. I had some teammates that. I had some teammates that were pretty gnarly characters that were in on the raid. You know. And
Yeah.
I was a good boy. You know. I just
stole one thing.
I just got one thing.
National
Little bitty-
championship trophy.
For my daddy.
Serious national
For you,
championship.
Dad. That would have been great, though.
Yeah, it would have been great.
You should've
Man,
got it,
imagine
man.
if Clint had been there with you. You would have been in so much more trouble at Alabama than
Yeah, you should
know.
have got that thing, man. Everything must go.
Everything must go.
Let's get out of here.
In other news, the 1992 Alabama National Championship trophy is missing.
It is gone.
But there was some great guys, you know. We and Teresa and I, we got to meet a lot of the. Well, we go out to eat with the coaches, you know, and stuff like that. We got to know them pretty well.
Yeah.
And Coach Sheila, he came next. He was a great guy.
He was. He was.
Mike Sheila was fantastic. You know,
Probably some good steak too, didn't you? You went out to eat.
never went to eat. But,
I still clear out my pockets and put all my stuff out of my pockets on top of my dresser. I got this like elephant-looking long silver plate. It's like
Yeah.
that he gave me for my wedding present.
Mike?
Sheila. Yeah.
Really? He got you a wedding gift?
He did. He did.
Nice.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Does-
I'm sure it was his wife. But
does,
it's a charity.
does your dad know the story about Don at
I-
practice? Have you told him
Probably,
that story?
probably, but I can
you-
throw it out real quick.
oh,
for you.
Don Sheila. Yeah.
You remember how he'd always come to practice?
Yeah.
Well, it was one day, like, you know, something had happened.
Your
While
son,
we were coming.
Your son did this. I hope you're proud.
We were coming from the. Maybe
He's like,
maybe my O-line coach was holding me back, or maybe he was talking to some of us a little too long. We were rushing down to get ready, right? Before we had to go sprint to go get out to practice, and then we were in shells, so it was shoulder pads and shorts with a girdle. And remember, we were all just busting it, trying to get all our stuff on, and I'm like one of the last guys, and I'm just chugging it across the field, you know, and I'm running out there. And a lot of times when Don Shula was standing out waiting to practice, I'd always stop and talk to him for a second, you know, and he just always lit up. So I was like, well, if this guy's going to smile at me, and I'll talk to Don Shula. So we kind of would just always just say a few things to each other, and then we'd go about our business, you know. And well, this day I was running across. He was like, hey, big man, you forget something? And I was like, Coach, what do you mean? He's like, look down. And I looked down, and I have no shorts on. I'm just in a girdle, you know. And I was like, dang it! And I just started taking off, running back to the locker room. I'm like, gosh, dang it! So that was crazy.
Yeah, it's so amazing. Don Shula just hanging around at practice.
Yeah,
it's
it
crazy.
It was cool.
Your
Oh,
son
back
was,
then,
coolest
they were,
thing.
man, it was a star search every day.
absolutely.
Hey, one of my favorites. One of my
Couple hundred
favorites
people there.
was Bobby Allison. He used to come to practice
Yeah.
every other day, if not every day. He'd always come down with a lineman. We just hang out and talk to old Bobby Allison. And at the
Yeah.
time,
I hate Cale Yarber. I hate him. Hate him.
Yeah, I can't stand it because
no,
his
not-
nose
not-
hit my hand.
did I say Bobby or Donnie?
You said Bob.
It was Donnie.
Donnie,
It was his
yeah,
brother
yeah.
Donnie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Donnie would come. Yeah.
Yeah, I run into him in the restroom at Talladega.
yeah. You just look over, and it was.
Yeah, Donnie, I run into him.
Donnie's a good guy.
He may be going in the Hall of Fame this year.
Maybe
NASCAR Hall of Fame, yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
So, your son was almost naked in front of Don Shula.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's seen
yeah.
worse.
I'm sure.
Oh,
it
that's
was-
true.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, you know, it's just not every day that one of the greatest coaches in the history of football tells you you're missing your britches.
Well,
The way he told you, too, is legendary.
you missing something? Look down.
You know, coaches were always telling him, son, you got to do something to get our attention. Then we'll get you out on the field. But I think Mark took it to heart.
Well, if I had that mindset, I might as well just took the girdle off. Just went out there.
There you go.
Got everybody's attention.
Hey,
David.
Coach, watch this. Everybody was kung fu fighting.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, me.
That's incredible.
Dad, who's some of the, besides Randy Owen, what's some more, because you've met a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
What about Bobby Knight?
Oh, yeah, Bobby Knight.
You met Bobby Knight?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Tell us about Bobby Knight.
Okay.
Does he do that?
God
think he
rest
did.
his soul.
No, he didn't.
No,
Did
he
he?
didn't die.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he's still alive.
I think he's still alive.
Yeah, he's living.
Our first
Yeah, he's
research
alive.
on the computer.
Go- Where'd you meet him at?
I just
Yeah.
assumed he was
He's-
so old.
Last time I
no,
saw him,
he's-
it didn't look good, but
Yeah.
82.
I think we would have. I think they would have told him. that he
I was
Bobby
in
Knight.
the Vandy gym in Nashville at a Bobby Knight one-man basketball clinic. So he's out in the middle of the floor, and you know there they got the seats, so they're lower than the, than the floor. So you're kind of sitting
Down.
and looking eye to eye. Well, Bobby Knight he will tell anybody anything at any time in a bad way. I mean, so they were 3 or 4 guys were on a break, and there were 3 or 4 guys that were going up there that wanted to go out and talk to him on the floor, and he just dogged them. I mean, and I was in line to go up there, and I was going to go talk with him.
Yeah, you dummies, don't approach coach.
So the other 3 guys were gone, and I go up there and I said, Coach, and I said, do you know what? If old Bill King is still alive, and he was a coach at Indiana State long about the time Larry Bird played, and Bill had a heart attack, and he's really struggling. I'm glad you asked about him. So we just started talking, and those other guys, I kind of turned around and they were like,
You had him. You had Booby Knight in the palm of your hand.
I did. I had him right where I wanted him,
That's
and
awesome.
then won a pair of Converse tennis shoes right after that in a drawing.
That was a good day.
I don't think he had anything to do with it, but it was.
You
cool.
like to think he did.
I want this pair of Converse. You know that fella right there. He's got a good heart on him.
Did he sling a chair?
Please,
Please tell me he slung a chair.
well,
Like he got mad and slung a chair.
he
afterwards.
probably would have, but there was only one chair out there, and if he had him, he'd have to walk a long way to get another.
Now bring it back.
But
He probably rigged that Converse
yeah,
drawing for you. He probably told you, keep it down, cuz. I'm going to rig it for you. Right?
I had called Governor Bob Riley one time. We were the state was talking about raising some taxes for education, and I'm like, well, if they're going to do that, we don't need to be trying to do the same thing here if they're going to do that. So I got a call into him, and so then Matt Means is our computer guy here, great guy, and we had to go down to Moody's, so I said, get in, Matt. He had to go fix something down there IT-wise. So we were I think we were there. We're on the way back toward Asheville, and my phone rings, and it's Governor Riley. But Matt didn't know who it was, and so he started talking. And Matt actually was driving. I was riding. I said, Matt, pull over. The governor's on the phone. And I thought he was going to wreck the car or get it off the road. If he was here now, he'd laugh about it too. It was a funny moment. But yeah, you have to know those people. When you're in a position to trying to do something for the school, for the St. Clair County, and Don Siegelman, Bob Riley. I spent about half a day with what's his name, got kicked out. Dr. Bentley. Yeah.
I remember when Bob Riley used to come on the sideline during football games at Bama.
Yeah.
He'd come hang out with us.
He was a Bama fan, wasn't he?
I don't know. Yeah, he probably wouldn't claim it, but yeah, I'm sure he was.
Well,
I mean, at the time when he was in office. He wanted to keep
you
things
can't.
fair.
Well, I mean, but like Kay Ivey's an Auburn grad, and so like she's got like
She
can't. She goes to Alabama games and wears a crimson necktie or whatever.
Yeah, just to keep the peace.
But
Yeah.
she's at Auburn. She's
got to be a politician when it calls
exactly.
for it,
Yeah.
but he was a Bama dude. He loved being on the
Yeah.
sidelines with us. He'd carry on conversations, It's cool.
Yeah,
guess.
he's from
Whatever.
Ashland.
Yeah, what I was
Yeah.
the last thing I want to say about Governor Riley was when we talked, after we'd got to know each other a little bit, somewhere down the line, he said, you know what, you're from Asheville? I said, yeah. I said, I'm from Ashland. And when my daughter was getting married at Ashland, I had some of my friends that we'd invited to the wedding. It was about 20 minutes before the wedding, and they call and they're in Asheville instead of Ashland.
Oh, wow. That's a long drive.
That is.
And every time I saw him, he would always bring that up again. Yeah, friends are still looking for Ashland. In Asheville.
They didn't make that wedding.
Nope.
Didn't make it.
20
No, didn't make it.
It's
Get
funny.
the video.
It's funny you say that because when I was at Auburn, I worked with a guy, and every time I saw him, it was, how's Bob Riley's folks? And I was like, that's Ashland. I'm from Asheville. That's Clay County. I'm St. Clair County. St. Clair County. Oh, that's right. So.
Yeah, I was trying to explain to Andy Andrews the other day where Asheville was. I don't think he ever understood.
Yeah, you met Andy Andrews.
Yeah, I
Tell
don't
us
think
about
he ever
experience.
understood that.
Well, hold on. I have one question.
Yeah.
So you said you got Bob Riley on the phone. Like, how did that work? Did you say, "Somebody get me the governor"? Now, Sarah, get me the governor.
Yeah, well, it's not quite like
Oh, okay. Well,
No.
My people gets in touch with your
No,
people.
just Governor Riley, please. That's it.
All right.
But
I'm gonna try that. We should try that on air one day.
With Governor Ivy?
Might as well.
No, I tried that. I called down there. I called down there one day and almost. Who was the guy you said got Bentley? I thought I was fixing to talk to Bentley. I mean, yeah, you can call the White House if you want to.
Yeah.
You might talk to the president. Who knows? Might put you through.
I had a lot of pictures about.
They work
stuff
for
like
you.
this when
Just
you
remember
set
that.
them
Yeah.
On fire, man. But
Yeah. Yeah.
They are your employee.
So
Keep that in
so,
mind.
So
They
what,
need to keep that in mind.
What about
They do.
Andy Andrews?
No, we had a nice conversation.
Oh, well, okay. First off, tell us about Andy Andrews for those that don't know. Who is Andy Andrews?
Well, he has a podcast that I listen to, and he's an author. I think he started out as a comedian.
Did he
I
really?
think he opened up for some country acts and stuff. He knows, and he was on Nashville Now a lot when that was a TV
So we
show.
need to preface this
network.
story. Where did you meet him? And
Well,
why
he's
were
got
you
a
there?
place at the wharf. I was down in Orange Beach, so I went by. The last time I was down there when I had that Azo incident and everything,
Yeah.
The red.
you know, I
red
never
urine.
made it to Wolf Bay Lodge, and I never made it by the wharf. I was going to go by the wharf, so I made sure I did these things this time. So I made sure I went and ate lunch at Wolf Bay Lodge, got the fried seafood platter, and I went straight to the wharf, and I went to Andy Andrews' place. And when I got in there, he was doing a podcast. He had a guest in there. And so we only had about 10, 15 minutes left of the show, so I hung around. I was the only one in there, so he come out, and we talked for a little while. I bought a book, got him to sign a book.
Did you tell him you bought a classroom set of his books?
Yeah, told him I had a classroom set of his books, and we talked about that. And then we talked about Jason Isbell a little bit and the 400 unit, why the 400 unit is called the 400 unit. I had to explain that to him. And I tried to explain to him where Asheville was. And,
Was he a fan?
But, yeah, he said his son likes him.
Okay.
Listens to his music. So we had a nice little conversation.
Is he a fan of our podcast?
No,
You did-
he hates it.
He didn't mention it to him at all.
Well, should I have asked you to be a guest while I was
Yes!
there?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I will next time. I'll go in and see him again.
You know where he graduated college?
Auburn, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was Auburn University.
These are the only people he knows where they graduated from is
I
Auburn.
wonder when. I wonder
you
when
know,
he
I was
graduated.
going to go to Auburn.
Were you really?
Tell
you
them
didn't know
about
that
that.
story?
That's a good story too.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Well, so it's our sophomore year at Southern Union. We had just become the first college team in the history of the state of Alabama to win a national championship in basketball. So we got honored by the legislature so we come back and we have a banquet, and the new Auburn coach is there. And so he, I don't know what all the conversation was, but at the end, he asked me if I wanted to come to Auburn, be his head manager, stats guy, and run that part of his program because he just got hired and he didn't know anybody yet. I said, sure, I'll do it. So
Who was the basketball coach that just got hired? Who was?
his name was Paul Lambert. Never heard of him, have you?
I was thinking it could possibly have been Sonny Smith or something. Did they come shortly after that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Paul
Paul
Lambert.
Lambert.
I'm sitting in July or June one in on the couch at my home, my mom and daddy's house, and reading the newspaper, and I read where he burned to death in a hotel fire in Columbus, Georgia. He never coached a game at Auburn.
Wow.
And then I said, well, anybody could tell Sonny Smith, or I think that was the next coach, Sonny Smith, says, he wouldn't know me from anybody.
Sure.
So I just stayed here, went to Jacksonville State, and Teresa and I got married. That's him.
So he died in a house. Who was
A
the
hotel fire.
Who was the coach at Jacksonville State that died? Didn't somebody die in a fire? Or somebody died trying to save somebody? The head coach at Jacksonville State football team in the 70s. Didn't he die trying to save somebody in a fire?
That wasn't Clarkie Mayfield, was it?
That seems right.
I
That
think
he
that
died in a fire.
Yeah.
And then that's when Fuller took over.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that may be right, yeah.
Well, I know LSU had a football coach that never coached a game. He died on a recruiting trip, like in a car wreck on a recruiting trip.
Well, neither did Price.
Neither did
He
Price.
never coached a game in Alabama. Well,
For totally different
Well,
reasons.
okay,
not
I was
perishing.
thinking.
That's
Yeah.
a different,
Strippers, man, they get you every
kind
We're
of,
rolling, baby. We're rolling.
different
Let's keep
kind
it rolling.
of house fire.
Hey,
That's ironically what my prize said
Hey,
too.
athletic highlight. I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Need my money, boys.
High school, college. Was that your highlight? The Southern Union winning the winner. That's your most memorable moment?
Yeah, it was just a great moment. Just because that tournament, it was against junior college and four-year schools. So we played some teams that had beat Jack State during the year. It was tough, but we had a great team, well coached.
Who was your coach there at Southern Union? Who was that coach?
Frank Gordos. He was from Paoli, Indiana, and was the meanest guy you'd ever. The first practice I ever had with him, we had to get on a school bus and go from Southern Union to Hanley High School because the gym at Southern Union, water had got under and it was bucked up as high as your head. It was unbelievable. So we're driving on the
with
bus.
With a B.
Yeah,
With a B. We got to clarify that here on the show.
There's a story behind
So, so we're on the bus to go to Hanley High, and we passed a church, and then past it's a big graveyard, and nobody's really saying anything much. It's the first day of practice, and he just says, "You boys, you don't think I can't do without you? Look out there. There's a lot of people I'm doing without." We're just like,
Wow. This got
gonna be
dark real
rough.
fast.
That's awesome.
That's what he said exactly to a T. Nobody else said a word the rest of the day.
It's like going to Junction, wasn't it?
It was rough. It was. We had to run from the college downtown Wadley, which didn't really take long, to be honest with you, but then all the way back to college twice before practice started. It was just like cross country, but hey, we won it all at the
Playing
end.
highlight. What about coaching highlight?
Before you do coaching highlight, I remember Mom telling a story about how you had ran so much down there playing that you had gotten these holes in your heels.
Yeah, I don't know, just they burned so much the bottom of my feet that just these holes came in the bottom of my feet. It's just like
Wearing plugs at your feet, doesn't it?
it's awful. It was like honeycomb almost, just because
Wow.
just the bottom of my feet wore off. But
Yeah.
that's
a lot of-
Still
that's a lot
like
of running.
that?
no,
Okay.
Lord.
I wanted to see.
They healed.
Yeah,
The body did its job.
yeah. I guess coaching wise was, I'm proud of all the coaches. The teams that we had here that won, games, and I got to play. The kids got to play for me and all. But I guess that year at Springville, when we beat Coach Gross and them in the county tournament.
Beat them campus jocks, huh?
Yeah, we beat them and won that county tournament. And then the first year I coached, my girls' team at Raglan, we lost in a state championship game. And had a 1 or 2 point lead going into the fourth quarter and lost it at the end. That's the one that haunts me the most.
Who were you playing? Who won it?
Vina High School, and they did.
That's
They
up
won it.
north.
Yeah,
Yeah.
up north. And then
Tell me, well, you go ahead.
Well, I
I
was
was
just going to say the thing that, for Asheville's standpoint, I'm proud of, just being able to have won county championships on the varsity level at 3 different schools. And that's I guess, my highlight, because nobody's ever done that before.
Right.
Or, who knows if they'll ever do it again. Hope they do.
What about in athletics or education or what's the funniest thing that you can, right off the top of your head, that happened?
Well, what come to my mind a while ago when we were talking about the bus situation with you was the time Jimmy Golden's mama come to school, and she said, Bobo's rode the bus for 8 years. Every day he gets off. Today, Bobo didn't get off. And so, he went to trade school, and so, I don't know, Miss Golden. He's not here. And I said, to go check the restroom, go check we don't see him, So Whaley and I, we get in Whaley's pickup truck, and we fly to the trade school. And we get down there, and he's over there walking at what used to be Anna's Grocery, rubbing his eyes like this, and he's mad at Miss Hare, the driver. Said, that woman left me. And what it was, he got there, and fell asleep, and it was on a spare bus, and nobody drove it. So he was asleep till nearly 4 o'clock, and he just had woke up and walked down the hill. Well, so back in, I said, Jimmy,
Go get David Murphree.
yeah. I said, tell you what, you get in the back seat, you get in the back of the truck and sit down back there, and we'll ride up here. Maybe that'll wake you up between now and the school. Little did I know it was going to come a monsoon from the trade school to the school. I'll never forget it. I mean, he was just like, Mr. Whaley, Mr. Sanders, let me in. I'm cold. It's wet. But I said, we're trying to get you to school as quick as we can, you know. But it's a true story.
You left a kid in the back of a pickup truck.
We put him in
Well,
the
you know,
back.
Whaley's old truck was a single cab.
Yeah,
Yeah,
single. No shed work truck. With no room.
Yeah, single.
No room in there.
Oh.
Let me just mention.
Wait, let me in the front.
Miss Sanders, please.
Miss Sanders, please.
How do you spell your name?
Let me jog your memory on another
My name's
rain
Jimmy Golden.
story.
How you spell it?
Oh,
B-O-B-O.
See if you remember this. I want to mention this name. Pecos Gallimore. Don't spit your water.
He almost did.
Yeah, I remember.
Can you tell that story about him offering
What was his name?
Pecos Gallimore?
Was that
Yeah.
dude
Offering-
from Spain? Was it
How do you spell Pecos?
He was an assistant coach, and he was taught over.
He
at
got
the
a good
middle
deal on
school.
some hot dogs at the concession stand one time.
Yeah.
For a game.
But that was back when Coach Prote was coaching,
Yeah.
and it's a Thursday afternoon walkthrough, and it's coming a flood out there. I mean, it was raining way before we even went on the field, and most all of us thought, well, we're not going to practice, you know, we're going to have a team meet and talk about it and go home. Well, it'd been a bad week, so Russ said, well, hey, it may rain Friday night. Let's go, boys. And so we go out there, and, you know, he's out there, this assistant coach. He's in his full dress, nice slacks, jacket and everything, and he's got this little hat on, cap and the water's just dripping down off. And I went by him. I said, I can't say the words he used. There's no way I'd get in trouble. But he just didn't want to be there. I mean, it was hilarious. I just can't say you can't.
Well, he offered Coach Prote some hot dogs before a game, too, didn't he? They're warm
I
ups.
think he did, yeah.
Got a good deal on them at the concession stand.
Did he say that? Hey, Coach, I got a good deal.
He offered him. He stuffed his pockets, I think,
With hot dogs.
and all
Pocket
that.
dogs.
He was different.
Okay, he's probably the most memorable, probably.
I wonder where he ended
Coach
up, or is now.
There is no telling. Because he was gone quick. It's like he came in with the wind and out with the breeze. He was out, and it was over.
I love that saying. Wow,
That's
that's
good.
awesome. Came in with the wind, out with the breeze. That's awesome.
I just made that up.
That was smooth. That was smooth. Okay, let's get to our recommendations real quick. David, you want to start us off, and we'll go around, and we'll end with Tom?
Yeah, the Professional Noticer podcast, Andy Andrews.
Andy Andrews? Is that your only recommendation?
And yeah, that's my own one. And watch the one that's coming out next, because I think I'm walking around in the back of it.
In the
Yeah,
back of
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Okay.
Make sure
What's
to
it
watch
on?
I guess
Andrews!
I found it on YouTube the other
YouTube.
night. I watched one on YouTube the other night.
YouTube.
That's the only place I could find to watch it. I tried it on what's that thing ours is on?
Well, we're on all
We're on
platforms.
Spotify.
Yeah, Spotify, but I couldn't get the video to work on Spotify, so I watched it on YouTube.
YouTube.
But I listened to his
YouTube.
podcast though on Apple Podcast.
Okay, gotcha.
Listen to it. I was trying to watch it because I want to see myself walk around in the background. So I walked around
What-
behind,
what-
taking pictures and all kind of stuff.
What?
I
Yeah.
made-
What if we like turn it on? We're watching it, and it's just like David in the background. He's just staring at Andy through the window.
That's
He's
pretty
just
much.
like-
That's pretty much what it was.
He's just staring at.
We're-
I was the
Wearing
only one
those
in
glasses.
there. I was the
Wearing
only one
those
in there. Me and the two people that work for him in there.
Hey, Dad,
They
before
got a
I,
nice place, nice store in there.
before I get to my recommendations, do you remember the time you had to paddle me my senior year?
What?
And you broke your paddle on me?
Uh,
I think you
think
got
so.
I think you got Miss McDaniel to witness it. It was in your office.
yeah.
That was the time
I remember doing it. I just not sure what it's about.
It was when you had told me to go get all those trash cans from up at the stadium. And it was like 6 of them because we were putting all the picnic tables in front of the school for all the seniors to
Oh, yeah.
eat at during
Yeah.
lunch.
Yeah.
And you wanted me to go get a bunch of trash cans. Well, I didn't have a way to get them, and I had not a lot of time left before I had to go back to class. So I went and I knew Travis Davies kept his keys in his truck and his gas cap And so
I
remember the
that,
Travis
yeah.
Davies thing?
Yeah.
And I went up, got all the cans, drove down to the front of the school, put them out, drove back up. While all that's happening, Davies was in one of the back classrooms and saw his truck going by.
Yeah.
And he goes tearing out through the school like saying, "Somebody stole my truck!" And he comes and finds you, and just makes a big fuss about everything, you know.
Yeah. I remember now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you broke your paddle on me that day.
You deserved it.
I did.
Dang, I didn't realize you'd ever been paddled.
Oh yeah, many times. Murph paddled me.
Really?
Yeah.
Have
What
y'all-
are you for?
Probably. Well, I will.
Shirt being out.
I will say.
not tucked in?
I can't. I remember you giving me
Was
like
this
one.
after y'all duct tape? Who'd y'all duct tape or yarn?
No,
to
it
the
was a
desk?
yarn. It was me. Yeah.
Okay, so was that after you yarned him to the desk?
No, this was probably before, but
Yarned him.
probably early in the year, and it was me and like another dude. So
Man, how discipline has changed.
Yeah, I
I
can't
used
do
to
that.
paddle for a shirt not being tucked in, gum, talking without permission. Get out in the hall. Just get it over with. And then you get back in here and let's get to work.
But I remember the coolest thing you did one time was we got in trouble another time, and when we went out, and you're like, hey, watch this. Hey, just make some noises like this hurts. And you like pick your shoe up, put it on your other knee, and you start whacking the bottom of your shoe just so the class would hear it. And we're out there going, ah!
That worked for a little while too.
Yeah.
Just knowing that you could get a paddling. you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was Alex Taylor part of that? Because I think he's told that story before.
More than likely, yeah.
That sounds
that's probably was me and Boner.
Yeah.
I was proud of our school, though. We had
That's
a
his
good
nickname.
school back then. We had good kids, good staff. I mean, it was a fun time to be here. It was awesome.
Yeah. Boner.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the first time anybody's ever said his name on the podcast.
Is it?
His nickname, Boner. Yeah.
Well,
Alex
it all
Taylor.
started, because
Tell that story, Mark. Go ahead.
well,
Go ahead.
Well, me and Boner, we were
Shut up, Aaron.
we were really good buddies from kindergarten. We had Miss McClellan's kindergarten class, and he was, and I haven't grown as big as I was, and he was still kind of a normal little kid. He was a little bit smaller than me. But we just hit it all because we're both a couple of crazy idiots, and we like to laugh at stuff. So we just always kind of hung out. And well, anyway, so I don't know. We get up to middle school age, and he's just still so little and skinny. And back in the '90s, that old show Growing Pains was on, and then Kirk Cameron, his best friend's name wasn't it? That was Growing Pains. Yeah, his best friend's name was Boner, and we just thought that was funny. So we just
Why is that so funny, Aaron? I don't understand why you're laughing like you are. Can you care to explain?
No,
but
don't
look, we
explain.
named him that before we knew the alternative meaning of that.
Yeah.
So it was like to us, it wasn't as bad as what everybody
Now,
else
would
made it
you
out
be
to be.
walking down the hall and see him maybe 30 feet away, and you
Yeah.
go down the hallway, Boner?
Yeah.
More than likely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, more than likely.
Markakis.
Yeah,
Markakis.
we
That's
never-
Adam Bowles' original there.
Yeah, the old Narcakis turned
Markakis.
into Markakis.
Markakis.
It was a lot of different things. Yeah. And then Molster Tag.
And
That was part of
Molman.
it. Yeah,
Ulster
Molman.
tag.
Yeah.
All right, so
Ryan
what's your
Coleman.
recommendation?
All right, so today I experienced this, and it's been years since I've done this, but today I had to go pick up some Krispy Kreme donuts for an event coming
There's
up,
your donut man right there.
and it just took me back when this happened. So I get through the drive-through, and I had to take my little dog to the vet today to get her a shot. She hadn't had any yet, so I go through, and she's sitting in the passenger seat, and I put the boxes in the back seat. I get 2 dozen, put them back there because
One
this
for
won't be
you,
going
the
on
other
by
for
the time
everybody else.
anybody hears this. But today it's like the 100th anniversary of Krispy Kreme or something. They had a dozen donuts. You buy one, you get the second dozen donuts for 86 cents, or no, maybe it's their
Well, you
86th
still
year
go.
or something.
This evening?
Oh, it's still open. Hey, that line was backed up into the road.
Oh, that'd be good.
Well, that's like yesterday was National French Fry Day, and McDonald's was giving away free French fries.
Oh,
The Checkers and Rallies are still doing it today. So if there was a Checkers or Rallies, we'd get some fries and then go over to Krispy Kreme.
They still those Checkers and Rallies is still a thing.
Yeah,
It's still
they're
a thing, just
celebrating
not
it today
in
because it's Friday. So they did. McDonald's did it on Thursday. It makes more sense to do it on Friday.
Friday.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Friday, even though yesterday was National French. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, so I didn't want to tear into the donuts. You want to, whenever
I tear
a bunch of
into 'em.
people open them up, you want them to be uniform and all of
As
them
many
in
as I
there.
can.
Because
When
then
I-
you get accused of eating half a dozen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I
Okay.
when I put the boxes in the back seat, I just felt how warm it was. I was like, oh. So I reached back and grabbed the box again, and I pull it up, and I grabbed me one. And this is my recommendation for anybody out there: get you a hot, fresh Krispy Kreme donut and put the entire thing into your mouth and just let it sit for a minute. And it'll change your life.
It really will.
Put the whole
And give you diabetes.
So just put the whole thing in there.
The whole thing.
Put
Shove
the
it
whole
in.
thing- Shove it in. Just put the yeah.
I probably
Yeah.
eat a whole dozen before on Saturday.
Whole thing in your mouth.
I went to City Donut and got 3 dozen. I probably eat 8 of them right when I got them back.
Hey, but it was.
It's easy.
That was a moment.
They didn't cost no 86 cents though.
I had a moment.
Pretty expensive down
I
there.
had a moment right there.
So
It
your
was good.
recommendation is hot and ready donuts from
You can't beat a glazed
Krispy Kreme.
No,
donut.
not that's not my. Anybody can get those at any time. It's you got to shove the whole thing in your mouth. Let it sit. Hey, I don't care how many crumbs get on you. Just put the whole thing in there. Just let the
Doing
warmness
it.
and the juices flow right there. And
I'm
just
doing
get
it.
all that stuff and then yeah.
Doing it tonight.
Hey, it was awesome. It was awesome. Because, normally when you get the Krispy Kremes and somebody's went and spent money at a fundraiser
Come
and
back. Yeah, they're
they're
cold.
cold.
And they're,
But when you get them hot,
Yeah.
put the whole thing in your mouth.
yeah. Or 10 seconds in a microwave.
My recommendation is
Ain't the same.
"Broken Window Serenade" by Whiskey Myers. It's got a harmonica part.
Okay.
This song was released in 2011. It's a very sad song though, but it's a great song. It
What about
talks
Genevieve?
a-
You didn't watch that?
It talks about a woman who becomes a stripper and then dies of a meth addiction. But it's a great,
Louise!
it's a great song though. It's a good story. It's got
great story.
harmonica. It's got fiddle. It's got layers of instrumentation that's really
Sounds
good.
awesome.
And then his voice is really bluegrassy.
He's really passionate about that stripper.
And
wasn't
then to go ahead and
Turned
flip
out it
it
was
on
his
the other
mother.
side, "Just Another Day in Paradise" by Phil Vassar. That's another really good song that I highly
he? Just
recommend.
another day.
In Paradise.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Clint.
Well, I wish you wouldn't have done songs because I'm going to do a whole album now. Foo Fighters have just released an album called "But Here We Are." So for any of those that kind of know anything about the Foo Fighters, their drummer passed away
Yes, they
not
did.
long ago.
Taylor Hawkins is an amazing drummer.
And basically, Dave Grohl, the lead singer for the Foo Fighters, just kind of got in his own little depression, very much like when Kurt Cobain died.
Well, they were in the same band.
Yeah.
Kurt
Yes.
Cobain.
Yeah,
Foo Fighters, they come out.
Grohl was the drummer for Nirvana.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, a lot of passion went into this project. A lot of the lyrics and stuff. You can kind of, if you know the story, you can kind of see where the lyrics and stuff come from. So I recommend that whole entire album.
gonna go check it out.
It's been really good. It's top 3 of their albums for sure.
That's saying a lot. They
yeah.
had some good stuff. Dad, go ahead and give them. You told me a recommendation on the way over here, and I was like, go ahead.
I've really changed my mind.
Okay, that's all
Okay,
you.
so and y'all probably won't ever have me back after I say this. Not that I'm worried about it, but
Is it Pro Springville?
no.
Okay, we're
no.
good then.
Okay, I just for anybody that sees or hears this, just love somebody, love your family, love your friends. Because we lost our Mark's sister and my daughter Anna to a fire, and it's been a difficult time. But before that happened, and this is what I want to tell you because I'm thankful for this. It was June. We were on a little vacation, me and Teresa and Jonah. We went up to Branson, Missouri for about 3 days and just had a good time and all. But Jonah was trying to get in touch with his mother while we're going up there, Anna, and she was having a bad time. She was just having a bad time, and she never would answer the phone. And so it aggravated me, and because I don't like to see kids disappointed in that way. And and I must have said something, because then Jonah says, well, anybody may give up on my mama. Anybody might, but I'll never give up on my mama. She's the best mama ever, and I love her, And that hit home with me. That was in June. Anna died in October. But from June to October the 20th, it changed my whole relationship with Anna. I quit being so, getting ill with her over everything. And granted, she made a lot of mistakes as a person, but it just changed. And I started trying to love her more and look beyond her faults that were easy to see, but we all have faults, and just love her. And it was the best 3 months I'd ever had with her. So anybody that hears this, when you think you've gone, and it's maybe a teacher, you're just fixing to start school, and I know how kids can get on your nerve. Just keep going the extra mile. Keep doing the extra things. Keep saying, I love you one more time. Because you never know, some people, especially in the school system, they need to hear it terribly.
Absolutely.
But that was just a lesson that an 8-year-old boy taught me, that and I wouldn't have had 3 good months of my last 3 months I could have had with my daughter. I wouldn't have had it as much if he hadn't have said what he said. And it's as true as, true can be. So
It's funny you say that. My first 3 years here, I taught 2 brothers that were very different, very, very different. I'm not going to say complete opposites, but they were very different. And I got very close to them. And I got to see how they interacted as brothers. And at that time, my brother and I did not have a good relationship. We had never really had a good relationship. And so it was in, like, over the course of me getting to know those boys and their family, it kind of occurred to me, maybe I need to approach my relationship with my brother differently. And so he and I sat him down, and he and I had a conversation, and our relationship completely changed because I saw how they interacted with one another, and it was, you annoy me, but I'm gonna approach our relationship with love and kindness first, and then we'll work through all the bull crap at some other point.
Absolutely.
And now my brother and I mean, he works a lot, I work a lot, we don't get to see each other, but we have a completely different relationship now than we ever did growing up. We're closer now than we were growing up as kids. And so it completely changed my thought process about, my relationship with him. So that's really interesting that you say that, because there's a lot of, so much credence to what you said, just from my experience personally. So
Brother, I love my brother too.
Yeah.
Hey, me and my
But he
brother,
and I are total opposites. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, me and Matthew, we're opposite in a lot of ways, but we love each other.
Y'all both have a very good sense of humor.
Oh
Yeah, you can learn a lot from 8-year-olds too.
You can.
Yeah, you can learn, just kids in general, no matter how old they are.
Hey, me and Matthew had a really good moment, Dad. I don't think I told you this. We went on that kayaking trip last weekend. Yeah. We're out on the porch.
Thanks for the invite.
It was a brother thing. Shut up, Nick.
Well, anyway, we're out on the porch, man. It was late, so late, and we go with a group of like 10 dudes.
Yeah.
And
You just ruined it, dude. It was good.
I was about to
It's
burst
a
your
brother
bubble.
thing.
I'd burst your bubble a little bit. But anyway, so we're
He don't
we're
like
out.
you, Nick. Shut up.
It's like
I know.
3:00 in the morning. We just been out. We just been out talking for forever, And like Matthew got Dad's ability to really play guitar good. Matthew's gotten a lot better, and Anna was too. Like Anna could play. I could. I can't do it. I've tried.
Fat fingers.
The only thing I can do is play bass. I play bass at church, and thank Dad for that.
Amen.
Yeah. So, but Matthew, we've been out there talking a while, and he's playing songs. I'm singing songs. We're just having a good time, and so he starts playing the song. And it's like we're just sitting there talking, and then he just starts playing the song, and I like immediately recognized it was a song that my sister wrote a long time ago. But it's just a beautiful song that she wrote, and like we just started singing it together, and then like, man, we just lost it, dude.
Had a
Just
moment.
held each other crying for. Dude, it was so beautiful, man. I love you, brother. Whenever you see this,
Shout out to you, Matthew.
and thanks, Dad, for helping create us, and to allow that moment. Thanks, Dad, and Mom, and my Lord.
Yeah.
Amen.
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 Yeah, thanks for everything. You're good to work for. Thanks for everything you did for me.
We had a good principal.
And I was kind of thinking about 2003 was your last year's principal, right? Well, that's kind of when we're talking about discipline a while ago. That's kind of when it kind of,
There was a shift.
it started kind of change about that time, probably 2005, 2006. I don't think it started to change. I don't remember last time I paddled somebody.
I've wondered if I could. What it'd be like if I was a principal again. What it would be like.
Be like Morgan Freeman on Stand By Me. Was it Stand By Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. When he went in there and started cleaning house.
Well, I don't know, man.
Hey, Tom Sanders, when he used to walk these halls, there was a lot of reverence for that man right there because he held people to a standard. But we still had a good time. We had to sneak around and have the good times,
Yeah.
It's different.
If he knew about the move of the day in Miss Gibson's class that Justin Williams and Jonathan Hamilton were doing to me.
Oh, by the way, I saw Miss Lee the other day. She told me to tell you hello, and I told her that story.
I saw Miss Lee at Micasitas the day of Shep's thing.
I saw her yesterday.
Oh,
Awesome.
And
thanks for one-upping me.
with Shep.
We had some good teachers. I'm sure the teachers here now are good, but it was just a good time.
Well, there are two of them are right here, and they're pretty average. At least one of them is.
Well,
It's
I
not
wish-
me. I don't teach here. Okay. Thank you.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wish Miss Ford a great
Yeah.
success on her being principal here at Asheville. I know she'll do a great job.
Yeah. She's already done a lot of work. It's been fun to see her roll up her sleeves already, and school year hasn't even started yet. So, but guys, I think that's it. I think that's where we're going to end it for today. Guys, don't forget you can subscribe to Lens Plus on Apple Podcasts and on speaking of my brother, there he is.
Ooh, let me talk to him.
There you go.
Brother vibes, you felt it.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Hey,
Go ahead and check that out. Bonus episodes and movie reviews as well.
Hey, this is Clint.
Otherwise, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing and
Nick's on
helping
the
and
podcast
supporting
right now.
us. We really do appreciate it. Follow our social medias and keep up with us.
He said I sounded like you.
Well, it's probably he hears me talking. Hold on, Reagan. Anyway, Tom, thank you for coming on, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And
Enjoyed
don't
being
forget,
here.
you can talk or
Go home. There you go.
You watched a tornado tear them poles down too
It
from,
hurt.
and then his cement truck from Raglan. Like, was that before? Was that
just
before
like,
or
right,
after?
me.
Was that was
Right, me.
after? Yeah, that was after. It was sitting in left field out
Why
there.
didn't we get into them stories? That was a story. When I saw the tornado, I was here when it
knocked
took
poles.
the baseball field out. Yeah. I thought it was raining just like it was so loud, the roof was. And I walked out the front door, or toward the front door, and I'm like, I don't know, it's not even raining. And it sounded like a train was just. And
on
then-
top of you.
Yeah, so I walk out, and the tornado was coming right at home plate there, between home plate and third base, and then it went past and messed all that up, and then hit that light pole going down the left field line, and man, sparks flying
It took two
everywhere.
of them down, didn't it?
Yeah.
And it took part of the back of the school
Yeah.
roof off, and then
Yeah.
knocked two of them down. And did we get all that
I
fixed
never
back?
forget, just when I think about that, how angry I was. We had worked our butt off, to Calvin Field. You know how hard that is to do?
I remember laying the sod.
Yeah, I mean, it was. We worked so hard to get and it was the prettiest field anywhere. And so when I walked out and I saw the tornado, I just started going toward it, and I was cussing at the tornado. It just made me so mad. We had it out there in the
Went toe to toe with a nader out there in the parking lot.
That's the name of the episode, Toe to Toe with a
Hey,
Nigger.
Toe to toe with
It
a nader.
went-
Except it didn't make
it
it.
across 231 out there, that last pole, and it kind of went up, and then it disappeared. And I'm like, no, you didn't. I mean,